Welcome back, everyone, to the Web3 Weekly Podcast, the most relatable and reliable NFT, crypto, and technology podcast in the nation. In today's episode, I have been blessed to be joined by the Bong Father, otherwise known as Kris Uhlhorn from Special K Glass. Special K Glass is a successful glassblowing company operating out of Eugene, Oregon that specializes in the production of glass bongs as well as many other glass products. They have been offering glass blowing services for over 20 years and they continue to deliver a top quality product to all of their customers. In order to progress with the times and bolster their success, they're looking to move into the NFT market and offer unique utility as a part of their brand moving forward. In doing so, they will merge real-world and virtual benefits to create and nurture an entirely new community that loves what they do. So with that out of the way, I would like to welcome Kris onto the podcast. What's going on, Kris? Welcome to Web3 Weekly.
All right, Michael. Thank you, man. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'm ready to tell my story, man. So shoot
Hell
away.
Yeah. I am so excited to finally get you on the podcast after seeing you first talk about your project and what you do in this space. In a Twitter space, it kind of instantly sparked a connection of, I gotta get this man on my podcast. I would love to learn more about him, and I think my audience would learn a lot. So with that being said, let's kind of start with just who you are as a person. Would you mind kind of giving the audience maybe a brief introduction of kind of just who you are and what you do in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I am a glass blower and a bong maker. That is my passion. That is my business. I've been making and selling glass. That's it, making and selling glass for the last 20 plus years. I'm raised here in Eugene, Oregon, which is the birthplace of the modern day glass movement. And when I was in my early 20s, I moved up to Seattle, which is actually the mecca of soft glass, possibly throughout the entire world, but definitely in the United States. And, from just a very early age, influenced by the hippie culture here in Eugene, Oregon, and always wanted to make pipes and bongs ever since I was old enough to know what they were. And it was really inevitable that I would end up learning glass blowing, starting my own business, and building Special K Glass.
That's so cool. It's really, I also wanted to have you on the podcast because it's someone the audience can kind of look to see that you're doing something with your job is what you love. Like you've always been doing this. You're also very good at it. I would highly recommend the audience to go look at some of the pieces you and your team makes. But I think it's really cool and admirable to see that you took your passion of blowing glass and kind of creating it and supporting yourself through that kind of avenue. But kind of just more about you. Like, say you're not blowing glass, you have some free time. What are you going to do for fun? Like, how do you unwind? How do you just like chill? And what do you enjoy to do outside of just your business world?
Well, two things primarily. One is athletics. Extremely important for me to have balance in my life and take care of my body. Keep up the testosterone and the endorphins and just the strength. So sports are a huge part of my life. Cross fitness, running, swimming, basketball, you name it. I just try to stay extremely active every day, doing something to stay healthy and keep my body in tune so that I can continue a long career in glass blowing, which is extremely physically demanding. And then also tripping on nature. I absolutely love getting out into the woods. My current kind of hobby / pastime is getting out into the woods and building little survival shelters. I'm actually sitting in my office in the woods right now in a little nest that we've crafted in a little overlook on a reservoir.
That's so cool.
Yep. The sun's going over the trees a little bit here, and
I'm gonna need you to send me some pics of that. I gotta see it.
Oh, absolutely. My view is one of the best in the world right now. So
that's awesome. But it's really cool to see just how you enjoy and unwind. I always kind of voice my opinion that it's very important to kind of seek mindfulness, especially with everything going on in the world. It's always good to just unwind, take a deep breath, and even if it's for like 5 minutes, just to put everything away, just breathe, and you feel better, and just you can almost even work better, and everything
Yeah.
just is so much. Sorry to reiterate the same word and just keep using, but it's just so much better because you see the world in a better place by just stopping, breathing, and even just taking a break. But let's kind of, not only are you big in the glass blowing, there's a lot of people in the audience, and especially kind of the entire NFT market, that are huge marijuana and cannabis fans. So let's kind of talk
Mm-hmm.
about, obviously, you've seen the rise of cannabis use, especially throughout your life with blowing glass, and you've seen major kind of product sales with that. But how has the weed market grown throughout your life?
Well, it's almost unrecognizable from what I experienced as a young person growing up in Oregon. Um, with the legalization of marijuana in Colorado and then Washington and then Oregon following, really created a community standard here, unlike anywhere else. It's just an acceptance level. And now, just the knowledge and the experience of in the industry, the quality of the products, and the volume of the sales, and more than anything, just the overall acceptance in the community is, growing up as a kid, living, that what you'd spend hours waiting outside of your connection's house, hoping your friend could go in there and possibly come out with a dime bag.
Yeah.
We'd spend hours scraping pipes and smoking resin, and and all that stuff is just so far in the rear view mirror. There's just so much access to such high quality, not necessarily, doesn't have to be organic, but everything that we smoke and that provide with for our team and for the family is, we know where it's coming from. We know it's organic, and it's just a really good feeling knowing that what you're putting into your body, knowing where it's coming from, knowing that it's been tested. So yeah, the times,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful time to be enjoying a plant that has so many medicinal benefits and recreational use. And I don't need marijuana medicinally, but I love it recreationally, and I just use a little bit every day, and it helps me find that mindfulness that you were talking about, to relax and just really to be in the moment, enjoy my thoughts and go down, the avenues of, where, and just to be in nature and to be able to trip on nature, and relate with kids, or, trip out on an anthill or whatever it is.
That's really cool. I think it's very important because, especially with my generation, we view weed as just something that, like, just like alcohol. It's just something, like, we don't look at it as anything crazy. Like, we obviously view it in a better light than alcohol because alcohol kills millions of people per year and marijuana doesn't, but it's just like normal to us. Like, I think that's important for our generation. I think that's important for kind of the whole marijuana industry as a whole, because weed's just something people do. Like, it's not like, if you have friends that, if I have friends that smoke, it's just like, oh, they're normal people. Like, they're not anything crazy. They're not smoking the devil's lettuce. They're just enjoying marijuana. They're just enjoying a plant. But talking about legalization and how you were saying that it's very good to know that what you're actually smoking now, especially in a lot of states that offer it like legally, recreationally. How has the legalization like changed your business?
Almost instantly, when Washington went legal about 7 years ago, my business doubled. I had already had a successful career, had created a huge amount of goodwill with by selling my products and just being, true to my word as a businessman, and just developing a name for my product. So when, at the time in Washington, when things went legal, I got on the phone, and I have just honestly, I'm a hustler. So I have a great history of reaching out to stores, calling stores, with no shame, because you have to be a shameless self-promoter, and you have to be relentless on the phone and prospecting, and so I called a bunch of the marijuana stores even before they were opening, and because of my reputation, a lot of the managers and the store owners that I was contacting, they had already heard of my business. And even though very few of those original marijuana stores really had any interest in paraphernalia, they wanted to sell buds. They recognized the name, and they recognized the opportunity and potential for some extra sales, and and it was a catapult for my business legalization. But I do need to say, because not only, what you have to really understand is that glass blowing was basically illegal, just like marijuana sales and use was illegal until early 2000s, or whatever it was, mid 2000s. And I was in the black market, and I was selling products that were not for tobacco use, but for decorative and ornamental use only. Like, we weren't allowed, and I wasn't even allowed to talk about making glass. In a lot of different circles, a lot of different people, you were considered a degenerate. Been afraid of.
Yeah, you were considered just a loser that smoked pot. Like, you were just a no good degenerate, pretty much.
Pretty much. And even as when we moved back to Eugene, and with 10, 15 years of experience already, as I started getting into coaching youth sports, I wasn't a bong maker. I wasn't true to my nature. I had to come up with a different name for my business that was more discreet, and I just wouldn't talk about my true nature of my business. And it was kind of hard, man. It kind of sucked. And so when legalization happened, it was literally the biggest breath of fresh air. It was finally I could come out from the shadows and shine and let my business shine. And that is, has been a huge. I mean, just how lucky am I to have been in the state of Oregon and Washington, in those states at the same time when legalization happened.
It's one of those things where you're just happy to be right place, right time. I don't want to call it luck, obviously, because you have a very, very good craft, but it's just like something that it's like it was your moment, like your right place, right time. You have beautiful glass pieces that can be used to, just maybe some water pipes, but now they can actually be called bongs. You can start almost advertising for your business as well, because it's okay to do that now since it's legal. So it's really cool to see. I'm really excited to see the growth of your company, especially as more and more states kind of branch out and legalize.
Absolutely. The potential for growth in this entire industry is absolutely amazing. And whether or not federal legalization happens, I think is I wouldn't call it inevitable. I would say it's more like a coin flip. But but it feels like there's no doubt that more states are going in that direction. And certainly, it's one of the things that I just like to mention this because, bong or water pipe, or call it what you want. But we also developed this term, medicine delivery device. And, it's what it is for a lot of people. And so even in states, even in countries where, maybe marijuana smoking is frowned upon, I'll still ship glass to. Like, now I'm in a safe spot. Like, here in Oregon, my community, the police here, the district's attorneys, the judges, I'm like a hero now because of where we've come from and what we do, the creative nature of our process, and just and the community standard now. So I have insulation and I have freedom, and we can ship our medicine delivery devices all over the world.
That's awesome. I'm really, that's another reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, is because I just believe in what you're doing. I think it's really cool. I love scrolling through your Instagram and just seeing beautiful pieces of art. Even I personally consider it art because I'm not a huge marijuana fan. I understand why people use it, and I understand the benefits it has, but I just appreciate the art. That's another reason why. That's just the main reason for me, and I think obviously your business is going to grow. But talking about your business and just kind of getting into the ins and outs of glass blowing. How did you mentioned it earlier and you kind of touched on it, but what first got you started with glass blowing? Like, how'd you get introduced to it?
Um, well, I bought my first pipe. I bought my first glass pipe at the Oregon Country Fair. It's one of the great hippie festivals in all over the world. They're celebrating, I think, 50 years of this. It's part of the culture here in Eugene, Oregon. The Oregon Country Fair. So there was a man, and he is the godfather of the modern day glass movement. His name is Bob Snodgrass, and they had a little booth out there at the Oregon Country Fair. So I was about 16 or 17, and was able to purchase my first handmade glass pipe. They were called top hats. They were silver fumed. It was like a little Grateful Dead top hat. It's an iconic piece in the culture of glass blowing. It was one of the very first famous pieces, and I was like 17, so I'd been trying to make bone pipes, and we'd been smoking out of cans and cardboard rolls and whatever it is, 2-liter bottles,
An apple here and there.
Yeah, man, we turned a little end table into a hookah that we put like a 5-gallon mayonnaise water jug in, and we're using like funnels as screens, and and so that's stoner engineering, but that's kind of my nature. And then I saw my first piece of glass. And then, okay, so my greatest influence, though, I would have to say, is a friend of mine that I from high school, and he has a very successful, one of the very first glass blowing businesses, Sky Glass. He was a year younger than me, but by the time he was out of high school, he had a small shed in his backyard, and we're talking like 1992.
Yeah.
He started his own business. He was making and selling glass out of his own backyard, and like, this is the dream. Like, I've always had in my mindset is to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to work for myself. I didn't know how, and that wasn't what people were counseling me to do. But in my mind, I knew. And so, but it took from that moment though, and it was about 7 or 8 years later until I had the financial means, and then I had the opportunity. Just the stars aligned. I was living in Seattle, and boom, it just all came together, and I went all in into bong making and glass blowing. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it all started with a little pipe at the Oregon Country Fair, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really admirable that you have that entrepreneur's mindset, because that's something I kind of deal with. It's like, I don't want to work for someone. I want to do something myself. I want to build something. That's kind of why I do this podcast, because I want to build something that has value, that I control, that no one's telling me, hey, you can't do this, you need to do this. I want to have some freedom with what I do, and I enjoy this freedom right now. But I have a couple questions about your history with glass blowing, and I actually got these questions from some of your members of the Discord, as well as some fans of yours that were in the Twitter space. And this came from one of your fans, and it is, what is your favorite thing about glass blowing?
Okay, that's a list of at least 10 things, but
maybe top three.
I will. I'm gonna just kind of consider how to answer this, but first of all, I have to say, above everything else, there literally is nothing that I would rather do with my day than work with my team in the studio and make bongs all day, every day. Like, for whatever reason, I'll go into the details about what makes that, what is so enjoyable about that, the process of glass blowing itself. But honestly, I mean, what do I love most about glass blowing? Two things, I guess. There's two things that I love, that I really measure my day by, every day. And one is my ability to fill up an oven. So we start with nothing. Literally, we're starting with broken scrap glass.
Yeah.
We melt it in a big furnace, and then we gather it one bong at a time. We add color, and then I make the bongs. And so we're starting with a pile of scrap glass. By the end of the day, I have 2 enormous ovens that are filled to capacity with beautiful one of a kind, glass art. And it's just such a satisfying feeling. Anybody, any craftsman, any landscaper, anybody that is, starts the day, um, when you can see what you've accomplished at the end of the day is really a great feeling. And now there's days, most days, honestly, at the end of the day, we've put $10,000 worth of glass into the ovens. And to come, to start where I started from, and now to have this team of 8, extremely talented, experienced glass blowers all working in unison in a choreographed, dance to maximize our efficiency, to be able to fill ovens and make $10,000 worth of product from scratch a day is, it's extreme. So there's the volume, there's the production, there's the creative part of it. And quite often it's the same thing. Even though they're, each piece is unique, it becomes, it's very physically demanding and it's quite a grind. And then second part of that, beyond, the numbers and just the satisfaction of producing, is when we do new things, when we the creative process, when things are going well, the money is flowing, the sales are on point, and we have a little bit of spare time, or I just have the sense that I have the freedom to explore and try new things. For instance, today, I'm already experiencing the high of doing something new today in our studio. Today we made these ginormous dry pipes, bigger than a giant bong, like a spoon. Dry pipes. Yeah. We're not going to drill them. We're not going to turn them into bongs. And I had this. I have a chain of stores, the Mary Jane's House of Glass. There's about 17 of. It's an unbelievable family-owned head shop chain here in Oregon, Washington. And they asked for these, and I've been putting it off because sometimes trying new things is very expensive. It can be quite frustrating when I'm used to making 30 pieces in an hour, and all of them are perfect. When to try something new where we might have loss and frustration, the coordination that is required to try new things when you got 5 or 6 guys all working on a different piece, the same piece, but at different times. That stuff, it is a challenge. But when we do it and we pull it off, and so there's this thing, then all glass blowers know this feeling. But so you work all day, you try something new, you make a piece, and then you put it in the oven, and then it has to sit all night long, and then you don't actually get to check it out until the next morning to know all your work was successful. And that feeling and that anticipation that you get the next morning, waking up and waiting to get into the studio and crack those oven doors and see what's in the oven, what you actually made yesterday, never gets old.
Yeah, never. There's also a little bit of maybe some suspense with waiting for your pipe to be fully done, or whatever glass piece 100%. You're making. You're like, ooh, I wonder how it's going to turn out. Like, hopefully I did everything well. And that's another reason why I think it's really cool what you do, because there's a bit of a risk aspect to that too, because you can't say for 100% certainty every single piece will come out perfectly. There might be problems with the way it sits and stuff like that. So it's really cool that, because I think it's really important, because you've been doing this for so long that I would assume stuff like that doesn't really happen. I would assume you have enough expertise where you can be pretty, let's say, confident that your pieces are going to sit well, if that makes sense.
We do, and the more and more experience we have, the more and more the percentage of our success on those pieces goes up. And we are even able occasionally through our social media platforms, we do live glass blowing events where we take on custom work. People will actually pay up front for the opportunity for us to make a bong live on Instagram for them. And we're pretty confident that we can pull that off. Like, we do that live, we make it, we put it in the oven, and still, though, stuff happens. So, but yeah, we today, doing these dry pipes, it was a new process. We're doing some things we had never done before in 20 plus years. And every once in a while during the process, the guy that was actually finishing the pieces, he would holler over and he'd say, "Yeah, Kris, I think I heard a crack on that one, or this or that." And so it comes down to communication. If we're talking about the process of glass blowing and making sure that pieces are finished the right way, made the right way, it's very much like related a lot to like defense in basketball. A good team is constantly communicating. The minute that you stop talking to your teammates and telling them what to expect, what's coming down the lane, or what, and especially for me as being the leader of the team and in the gaffer's position, just the tiniest little thing and all the insights, all the experience that I have is important. It's critical, actually, that I'm vocal about what it is that potential problems, or if we're actually taking on the task of custom work, that everything is relayed in the right tone, so that it's received the right way, and then we're able to execute. So it's really I'm just kind of wandering a little bit here, but
feel free.
I think the communication part is a beautiful thing, and we've really embraced that. And so if you and it actually makes our process really quite enjoyable too, because it's not just we're telling each other, we're making jokes about it, and we're making rhymes about what we're doing, and we're doing shout and responses all the time in the studio, just to keep that communication going. So
that's
that
really cool.
that's how we keep the quality control, and that's how we know that we're doing a good job in the moment, in the process, so that the next day, I don't come to find out we lost half of our work because there was an issue that wasn't discussed. It's my job to make sure that I know everything that's going on. And so I expect that from myself, and I expect the communication also to come from the rest of the teammates. So
I think that's really important, especially with communication. I think that's why you're so good in spaces, because you're always communicating with people, and you're always making sure everything is kind of perfect. You're always dotting your I's and crossing your T's. So it's really cool to see. That's what makes your kind of art and your glass work so perfect. But I do have another question from one of the audience members from the space, is that obviously glass blowing is a very tedious process. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of attention. Obviously, you have to be fully into it to make sure everything goes right. But what kind of goes through your mind while you're glass blowing?
Oh, wow. So many things, so many different things, because it's so easily to get sidetracked, and it lost in your own mind, in your own thoughts. It's very important to stay in the moment. It's very easy to be in I don't know that it's a rut in a bad way, but just you get there's certain things we do over and over and over again, but oftentimes we need to change what we're doing, or we need to communicate. What am I thinking about when I'm glass blowing?
Obviously, you probably get sucked into the moment. I wouldn't expect you to be thinking about world peace and stuff while glass blowing, but a lot of times I am. Like, a lot of times, like, I'm. So if we've got certain products that are a little easier to make, that are more repetitive, that I've made 100,000 of a particular piece of certain shape, maybe a certain size, and in those moments, I can pretty much think about anything, whether it's
lot about because I spent 10 years basically half of my free time, all my free time was spent coaching youth sports. And so I would think about plays, I would think about our players, I would think about um, scenarios and situations and what I was going to do at practice later that day. But honestly, when I'm the most happy is when well, there's two things, but one is when I'm challenged. One is when we are trying new things, and it's in the flow state, man. It's the flow state that is just where you're absolutely 100% in the moment. You're thinking about the next move, maybe not even like the next move. I might be thinking 10 moves ahead. Because the timing sometimes on certain products and processes, it's unbelievable the amount of finesse and the timing that is necessary to create the pieces that we're going for in the process. And so in those moments, man, I am like, that's a special feeling when you're completely in it, and everybody is in it. And there's other times when the process is easier, but the team is just happy, man. We're playing music that we like. We're singing along. We're telling the same stories over and over again, and just laughing at each other, and we're clowning on each other, and in those time, the time flies by. Like, we're exhausted, but we've also, at the end of the day, we've also been hanging out with our friends, man. And
I completely agree with that. Like, especially when I'm recording these podcasts, if I'm really into it and the guest is doing great, like almost over an hour will pass by, and I'll be like, what the hell just happened? We recorded for an hour? Because you enter that, just like you mentioned, that flow state. You're just in it. You're constantly you're not even almost controlling yourself. You're just doing it on autopilot. But it's not like a bad autopilot. It's an autopilot you're enjoying, and you just forget about anything else, and you get tunnel visioned on whatever you're doing, and it's kind of a cool feeling if anyone's ever kind of experienced it. It's really hard to explain, but it's always pretty cool.
Absolutely, I think that you described that well, and it is, and that's probably it is one of my favorite things about glassblowing. The camaraderie that is created, and then that those moments when there's just nothing else but the piece that you're making, or it's even the next piece, but whatever it is, it's a part of the process. And now, I just add on to the fact that I'm an expert at these moves, and there's some of this stuff that I'm doing now that there's a huge amount of glass blowers out there, vastly more experienced and talented, well versed in sculpting and technical skills. But as far as the actual skills that I've developed over the last 20 years, unlikely that anybody could match the pace and could even recreate some of the moves that we're doing right now. And when you know that you're like out there and doing things that other people just really aren't capable of doing because of your experience and your practice, and you're making really, really unique and special pieces, it's an extremely good feeling. I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. And I wake up every morning and I spend, I would say, a good 15-20 minutes every morning just telling myself how lucky I am. Like, how lucky am I that I'm waking up and I get to go do what I love to do, and how blessed my life is to have a passion for do what I love, and then go do it. And it's I start every day out like that, counting my blessings.
I love that. I think it's important to kind of start your day with the same thing. And I always do a little breathing exercise where I'm just breathing in positivity and blowing out negativity just to make myself feel a little better. Obviously, I can't control the thoughts, whether I think positively or negatively, but I can always just tell myself things are going to be better, and you can just be at peace, be in that flow state, just like you said, and it kind of makes life better. But you know what? Let's kind of we've talked a lot about just what you've been doing, especially your craft and everything like that. And I think the audience has a pretty good, especially even I've done a bunch of research on you, and even with just conversating during this podcast, I've learned an immense amount more than I have just looking through your website and kind of just looking up who you are. But let's talk about your current business. Like, what are you doing currently to help improve your business, and kind of what are your goals right now?
Well, everything, every move, every action that I take has intention on helping my business move forward. So, I've built an amazing foundation, I would call it, because our ascension as a business has been extremely slow, but extremely steady for the last 20 years. And I look at it as building a foundation. Like, what we've done is built a solid rock foundation, and a big, strong, solid rock foundation for the potential for my business to grow, possibly exponentially, because of the work that we've put in, and the mindfulness that we've had towards growth. And so I'm at a point in our business right now where honestly, I think the big thing that has happened for me in the last couple years is that I have been able really to prove to myself, and I think that's the big thing, is that I've decided and I've made it known to myself that that this is the role that I want. I want to grow my business. I want to be an industry leader. I do want to be a person that creates opportunities for people. I want to be a leader, and I know now through experience that I have the ability, with the help of my team, to have vision and then take the necessary steps to execute that vision. And I've just really, in these last couple of years, really embraced that and proven that that this is what I enjoy, because it's a big stretch to go from 5 or 6 employees to what we have 15 employees now, and that brings in so many other complications and issues and time and energy, and then add on that 30 hours of production every week, and then hitting the road and making the sales. And is that a lifestyle that is sustainable for me? Is that a lifestyle that is that what I want? And it's become obvious to me that it is exactly what I want, and that I'm capable of that. And so it's simply what I've been doing is I've been putting every single resource that I have, all my time, all my energy, back into the business, and building the infrastructure that is necessary to be able to scale up and grow a small mom and pop glass blowing business. And that's what I want to do. I want to create an industry of glass here in Eugene, and be a hub and a river of glass that flows and feeds feeds people. So
that's really cool. So let's obviously talk about why you're kind of here. Well, obviously, I just enjoy who you are as a person, and I think your art's great, and your craft is just I can't even put it in the words how I feel about what you do with glass blowing. But let's talk about Special K NFTs, man. Let's talk about what you're doing with that. I've obviously heard your little couple minute shill in some Twitter Spaces, but kind of go ahead and shill right now. Tell you what's your goal with Special K NFTs, and why did you even consider getting into the NFT space with your business?
I think it was a combination of a couple things. why we decided to start an NFT. It kind of all started with a couple years ago. We started a membership program. People were paying $500, and there's another one of those ideas that I had. That was like, okay, we're gonna try this. We have a lot of success, a lot of momentum. People are collecting our glass, and I want to reward the people that are loyal to us and that want to collect my glass. So I started a membership program, but in order to be a member, the people had to pay $500. But then that allowed them 50% access, 50% off of all of our website purchases, which was an amazing opportunity because we were starting to sell glass online for the first time, and sales were happening fast, and people were extremely excited to be able to purchase directly from me. Collections were growing, and we started selling these memberships, and then around the same time, my son is critical part of our success and our growth in the last couple of years, and he's just 19, and he came to me with the idea of an NFT project that would help prove my business to be progressive and forward thinking, in the modern era, with the adaptation of some Web3 and blockchain technology. We could essentially create a digital asset which represents a moment in time, which is card for my business and for me, because I am my business. And so we create this digital asset, and not only is it a digital rookie card, but it also is filled with utility, like our membership was. And so the reason for this, though, is because scaling up a business is hard, and there's traditional methods of going out and raising money, taking loans. I have family members, I have friends, but I wanted to just, again, with the whole entrepreneurial spirit and also just my desire to try to do things a little bit differently, to be progressive. And one of the reasons why I've been successful as a businessman with my business is because I'm absolutely encourage change. Like, we are adapting with the times constantly. That is like a big part of my MO, is like, be current, change with the times, don't be stuck in your ways, and look towards the future, and also use the creativity and the energy of the youth that's out there. I've always made sure to employ young people in my business too, because they just bring a different perspective than people that are maybe used to maybe doing things in a certain way. Because it's hard sometimes accepting change, but it's just so necessary to adapt. And that's what we wanted to do with this NFT project. We wanted to not only adapt with the times and adopt new technologies with our business moving forward, but create an opportunity where I could use my community and use our popularity and our success to help raise money that is necessary to scale up my business for a new facility. And this new facility is going to do so much for this community, for my business, for our NFT holders. The whole thing is built on the, on the idea of it just symbiotic. We're all going to feed each other. All of it is connected. My website is connected to the NFT project, which is connected to our production, which is connected to the classes and the virtual reality technology, and it's all going to be tied in together. It's going to feed each other, and it's all going to be banked on the success that my company has already had, that people trust me. Like, the community trusts me because I deliver on what I say I'm going to do. I have that experience. I have those wins. Like, I have the ability to have a dream and then bring people along and then execute it. And so we're just, now it was just the right time. It's like, we have an opportunity as a company to be leaders in this new era of Web3 technology. Like, we can literally the idea that my son presented me with this NFT project potentially could be a blueprint for other small businesses and how to, create awareness for their business, because marketing is amazing. Like, all of a sudden, I'm in all new spaces, Michael, like all these Twitter spaces. It's just organic marketing for my business,
Mm-hmm.
whether the NFT project is successful or not. I know it will be. But I'm out there, man, and I'm talking about my business. I'm explaining my passion, and there's been so many little eye openers, not even little, like gigantic eye openers. Like, I had no idea how well suited I was for this space, because the bottom line is the people that create these NFTs are artists, and the majority of them are artists. And that's what I am. I don't create digital artwork, but I do create. I'm an artist.
You create stuff that people appreciate and people see as like, holy shit, this takes skill, this takes craft. Like, this guy has been here for years, and you can just tell with your art. So, like, especially with the NFT space and just artists in general, like some of those like shill spaces and stuff, people are just talking about the art they create. It doesn't almost sometimes it's not even an NFT. There's people playing music. There's people just talking about what they do. There's people that talk about just like their painting, or sometimes as well digital art. 'Cause that's a big part of NFTs. But yeah, like with Twitter Spaces are awesome. I think
it's unbelievable.
it not only is everyone kind of feel very welcoming on a lot of Twitter Spaces, you're able to give your pitch and talk to people about your project or whatever you're working on, and they give such great feedback. And I can tell every time I do a Twitter space, whether if I host a space or I just join one to talk about what I'm doing, I always seem to improve something about like my podcast or just me as a person. So it's super sick.
It's incredibly sick, and it's incredibly rewarding and satisfying, because I've never had I've never been able to share my hopes and my dreams, to talk about my art with so many random people and have it be so well received. And it's like right now is a really cool moment in time in my life right now, because never really had all the people that I talk to about this project and these ideas and in these spaces, they're raising me up and they're helping me. They are encouraging me. I'm getting a lot of constructive criticism from certain people, and that is as much appreciated as the support. And sometimes, honestly, from the people I consider my friends, I get both.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
awesome.
it's just good, man. It's just
It's just all around
been a
just
surprise.
happiness kind of too. People are just people know. I've never seen like a shield space where people are like pissed off or they're just like sad. They're always pretty upbeat because they just love what they're doing and they're pretty passionate about their project. But back on your project, can you kind of give a few details? Obviously, it's a little bit off. We're recording this in advance, so you might not have all the intricate details filled out with what you're trying to do. But can you talk about maybe what's the art going to be like on the NFT? Maybe some utilities for the NFT, and honestly, just why would anyone listening to this podcast right now want to mint your NFTs?
Well, I do want to address the actual NFTs themselves, because our NFTs, much like my businesses, were based off of real world artistry. So we, in order to make our NFTs, first we created some bongs. We took videos of the process and we made beautiful bongs. We had this beautiful white glass, and we used this amazing color that we import from Germany. And it's all a part of the whole big picture. So we created the bongs, and then we have an artist that helped us with a lot of our merchandise, with our t-shirts and sweatshirts and logo designs. Her name is Key Fivey on Instagram, and she's an incredible digital artist. So we sent her pictures of the actual pieces that we made, and then she digitally recreated them. And so our NFTs are actually 15 bongs that were digitally recreated, and a pipe. And so we used different backgrounds on these different different images, recreations, and created 10,000 different NFTs with different rarity. And so those are the actual NFTs. And if you were to go to our website, you can see them in the background of our website. And they're also we've released quite a few of them on Instagram, and there's a lot of people actually right now that are using those NFT images as their profile pictures on Twitter and Instagram. So they're out there.
That's so awesome, man.
It's
I think it's really cool. I think I'm very, very bullish on your project, especially just the tie to the real world business aspect as well, because it's kind of like a GoFundMe where if people are passionate about what you do and people love your art, especially just the physical art, they'll want to buy your NFT and support your kind of progression as a business. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's what I really want to. That is what I really want to. That's the shill that I really want to get down, because I know, and I've seen this throughout, over the last few years with these GoFundMe's and different, like, there are plenty of businesses that are like mine, that are centered around, just positivity and a good vibe in the community and want to do good things. And people want to support that. There's absolutely no doubt that there's support out there for that people like me that are trying to do a good thing in their community and provide jobs and create art. So we're kind of in we're what I want to do with this money, and the reason I'm doing this is because I want a brand new facility. I want to have a beautiful shop that is right on the I-5 freeway, and you're driving by and you see the signs, they're lit up, it might be neon, and maybe there's a billboard and it says next exit, and then you look over and you see this beautiful shop and there's this warm glow coming from inside, and you just know that there's groups of people in there that are pursuing their passion, and they're sharing their knowledge of glass blowing, and it's a teaching facility, and it's incorporating new technologies. I hope to have virtual reality gallery, a virtual reality teaching facility where people can put on their goggles and be immersed in glass blowing, and we're going to and I'm going to teach, and this is going to allow this new facility, that the money that is raised from this project is going to allow us to employ another glass blowing team. We have a current project going right now, which is advancing women in glass blowing, where we're taking we're volunteering our time and our resources to teach women, groups of different women, the process of glass blowing, teaching them to be self-sufficient, teaching them how to make and sell products. And my next team and my next facility in our new studio is led by women, incorporating all of those new technologies, and it's going to be a hub. Eugene, and just where I'm located, such a mecca. There's so many artists, there's so much potential, and there's so many artists, honestly, that just need a little bit of the help with the marketing, a space to work, and I can provide all of that with this new facility. We can be a huge, literally, I see it as a potential industry, a small glass blowing industry here in Eugene that could employ hundreds of people and could last, longer than my life, if we set it up right. And this is the springboard, and that's why I'm doing this project. This is my only NFT project. This is, my only capital raise that I'm going to do, because we're close, we're successful. We're managing to continue to grow slowly, step by step, but it would require a ginormous amount of loan or cash infusion to be able to really take this to the next level. And I'm asking the community to jump on board and help me do it, and do it with me, and along for the ride. We're gonna offer all kinds of utility, and we're gonna make it so much fun and exciting. The people that do jump in this project and are a part of this, when I give my word and I say that I'm going to reward somebody for their efforts and their help, I make sure that I follow through with that. And that's what I'm going to do for the next 10 years for this project. Is I'm going to build value into this project. I'm going to make those NFTs rare and collectible, and mean something to people. And and some of them are going to have utility which people won't be able to get anywhere else for the next 10 years. And if people want to have the opportunity to come learn directly from me, take a workshop and become a bong maker, the only way to do that is through one of these extremely rare NFTs. If somebody wants to get a forever bong or a goblet that made for them that has a lifetime warranty, the only way that's going to be able to happen is if they're a part of my NFT project, or if they purchase one of these, they mint one of these tokens, or maybe they buy it on the secondary market. So we built in these opportunities for people to make it interactive and fun. So it's not just like, sit back and relax, but every single day, one of our NFT holders is going to get a call from us saying, you won a free piece of glass, and we're going to ship it free to your door. And what do you want? A bong, a goblet, a pint glass? That's
awesome.
Automatic. Yep.
That's really cool. And I was like, before you started talking, I was just about to ask you, hey man, like, what's your dream with this? What do you want to do? And I didn't even have to ask you. I can tell you're so passionate about this. You just went ahead and you're telling everyone your dream because it's important to you and you want it to happen. But if anyone like in the audience was curious about where they can find your social media, like how can they access that?
I have one of the most dynamic Instagram pages in all of Instagram. One of the most dynamic social media platforms in all of social media and all of the web with our Instagram page. And I'd love people to go there because they can get a real look at the vibrancy of our company, and they can look at the history, a timeline that dates back to 2012 with our posting there, and then they can see the evolution of the business, and they can find the they can find the connections, the links to my website, where they can actually see the pieces that we make that are set in a gallery setting. Just a beautiful website that also then has links to an NFT website where it breaks down our website, our mission, the utilities. So there's layers, but I really, really do encourage people to go to specialkglass.net, my Instagram, Special K Glass, and then just follow the links for our website and our Discord, and that's where you're going to get the deep dive on the NFT project.
And if anyone, sorry to cut you off, but if anyone's wondering how to access all that, I'm definitely going to leave all the links for easy access in the show notes, and I'll definitely be posting about it on my Twitter and social media as well. But also, if anyone's looking to just get a piece of Special K Glass because you're interested in everything Kris does, I am going to leave my affiliate link in the description. You can use the code Web3 at checkout if you would like, and get yourself a piece of this amazing art just to support someone that's moving his Web2 business into Web3 and kind of just supporting our entire community. So you might as well, you're getting one amazing art and supporting a I guess we can call it a local business with art as well as kind of the NFT space. So it's really kind of, you're killing two birds with one stone.
Yes, well said. That's exactly it, Michael. We're really trying to wrap it up in a nice, pretty bow and have it all. We really are, the project itself hits on a lot of different levels. So a lot of financial levels, a lot of emotional levels, and then just also on deliverables. And then there's my word, and then there's my dreams, and then my experience and my ability to be able to execute those dreams. And if it all works out, it's going to be a wonderful ride. And potentially a lot of potential for our holders.
Well, if it's going to be a wild ride, I'm ready to strap in and keep all my limbs inside the ride at all times.
Yeah.
But Kris, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast. I can't explain in words how much it means to me for you that runs a massive business to come and talk on a small podcast with me, who's just trying to build and create something special with getting information out as much as possible. But also, I want everyone to understand that you're the reason, everyone listening today, you're the reason Kris and I are having this conversation. You're the reason why we're trying to expand this community. I want to thank every single person listening today. Just thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. It means, honestly, the world to me. But I do have one more question for you, Kris. And
Yep.
I ask it to every podcast guest I have. And if anyone is has watched or listened to multiple podcasts in the past, especially with my podcast history, they're going to know the upcoming question. But if you could have one superpower, what would it be, and why would you want it?
Wow, that's great. I'm sure I've had a good answer for this in the past, but I would have to say, it would have something to do with being able to serve our community here. I really, all I really ever want to be in life is a productive member of my community. One that, helps people along, help people achieve their goals, honestly. And not all people have the same advantages. Not all people have the same opportunities, and I just think that it's important for those of us that do have exceptional opportunities in life that we bring people along with us, and we look out for the people that need a helping hand. And so, a superpower, honestly, it would be able to provide food and shelter for people of our community that need it, like basic needs. If somehow I could, do that, then that's really the most important thing.
That's awesome, man. I really appreciate that message. That's a pretty admirable superpower to have. But I just want to reiterate, everyone in the audience, go follow Kris. Go follow Special K Glass. Give him some love. Give him some Web3 Weekly love. I'm doing my best to get the word out there and just produce some content that people can enjoy. So go give my guest some love and thank him for coming on the podcast. But obviously, Kris, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything you've done with helping me just learn more about you and your business. And I wish you the best of luck for the future of not only your business, but you personally. I hope you kind of prosper and you just like stay in that flow state and just stay happy. But kind of to wrap up the episode here, if anyone does want to support me or Kris, obviously go use that affiliate link in the show notes, and I'll probably post it on my social media as well when this podcast drops, to go get yourself some Special K Glass. It's really nice art. It's actually insane. I can't even explain how cool it looks. Definitely go check out their Instagram as well if you want to see what it looks like. Also, follow the Web3 Weekly podcast on all of our social media platforms. The username is at Web3 Weekly Pod. It is TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So go give us a follow and even message us if you have any questions for me about how I can improve the podcast. I'd love to hear what you all think, and also share the podcast with your friends. That's how we grow here. That's how this community stays together and kind of continues to grow. But also like the podcast and leave 5 stars on whatever podcasting platform you're listening. So just everyone in the audience, thank you for listening today. And Kris, before we head out here, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I would just like to say thank you, and what a great opportunity for me, Michael, to tell my story. This is actually the first, I would say probably the first, this is the first recorded interview that I've ever done. First interview like this of its kind. I've done some interviews for print, but this is, it was rare, and it was real cool for me to be able to put a lot of these thoughts and dreams into words and share them with people. And so thank you, brother.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you taking time out of your very kind of busy schedule with everything you're doing with glass blowing to come sit down. But Yeah, guys, thank you all again for listening to today's episode. Feel free to do anything to support this podcast. It'd be much appreciated. And I have been saying this in the past few podcasts to kind of get the morale up in the entire market. But have a good one, friends. Stay bullish.